Hi, good day everyone. My name is Antonieta Tumabok. Today I'm going to conduct my laboratory exercise 006. The title of this activity is email configuration and transmissions of information using Cisco Packet Tracer. Server's main functions is to process requests and deliver data to other devices. It can share data or resources among multiple clients, and a single client can use multiple servers. One of the typical servers, aside from the web server that we had performed in the previous experiment, is the email server. It processes information from one point to another through email. In this experiment, we will simulate using Packet Tracer how does the message transfer through electronic means. Objectives: simulate how does the electronic mail and email transfer from one point to another. And second, configure email servers. And third, determine the functions of the email server in networks. And fourth, identify how the server responds at the client's request. Materials needed: Cisco Packet Tracer. Procedure 1. After doing the experiment in Lab 5, we will now configure an email server. Make sure that experiment 5 is completed before proceeding in this experiment. Open the Cisco Packet Tracer, drag additional server to the platform area. So I'm gonna open this. This is my laboratory, the previous laboratory 005, and now I'm gonna add one server as per the instruction. And next, 2. Change level of PC0 and PC1 as dynamic and PC2 as static. And 3. In PC2, since its name as static, configure its IP address. Example is 172.16.0.90, and PC0 and PC1 labeled as dynamic. It means that there will be no manual IP configuration for the two PC because it is dynamic routing. So it's already named it at dynamic 1 and dynamic 2 because this is the same the configuration and the previous laboratory. So next, and for make sure that the Packet Tracer is in real-time mode. So it's we are in the real-time mode. And next, configure the email server. 5. Configure the email server. And A, add server and name it as email server and mail.amais.edu. So gonna copy this one and then gonna change the name email server and mail.amais.edu. Next, change it global setting by setting it gateway to 172.16.0.1. so gonna change this one, configure gateway settings 172.168.0.1, and then next, and configure it fast and Ethernet by setting its IP address 172.16.0.40 and change its subnet mask to 255.255.0.0. So I'm gonna click the fast Ethernet and put the IP address 172.16.0.40. So subnet mask is already configured once you will enter the IP address. Next, okay, and letter D, set the HTTP service and HTTP service to off, and E, set the DHCP service to off, and if set the DNS service to off. So I'm gonna off first HTTP service to off. Yes. And DHCP to off. So it's and DNS service to off. So it's off. And next, G set email is MTP and PO3 service to on, and change the domain name to mail.amice.edu. So I'm gonna change the domain name, and it's set the 3 user accounts as follows. You can create your own username and password. So I'm gonna mail should be on, so already on, and domain name should put here mail.amice.edu, and set the user 1 and password 1. Just check. User 2 and password 2. User 3 and password 3. Next, so configure 2 clients computer using DHCP, and A, click the 2 PCs in dynamic routing. In this experiment, click PC 0 and PC 1 and label them as dynamic 1 and dynamic 2. And B, set the gateway's DNS to DHCP, and C, set the fast Ethernet IP configuration to DHCP. So I'm gonna close this, and then click this. Dynamic 1 is already named it dynamic 1 and dynamic 2. So what config to DHCP. So it's already DHCP, but I'm gonna check again if it's working. So gateway is 172.16.0.1 and DNS servers 172.16.0.11, and just click the fast Ethernet. So we got the IP address 172.16.0.101, and the fast Ethernet is 255.255.0.0. So it's already can, and other one. So I'm gonna check if it's working. So its gateway is 172.16.0.1. DNS server is the same 172.16.0.11. Gonna check the internet, DHCP, configure DHCP, and IP address is 172.16.0.102, and subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. Okay, so it's working, and I'm gonna check the also. So this is the one. Now number 7, configure one PC in static routing by setting its gateway. DNS to static gateway is 172.16.0.1 and DNS server is 172.16.0.11, and set the fast Ethernet and IP address to 2172.16.90, and subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. So I'm gonna click the PC2. It is the static PC. So config 172.16.0.1 and the DNS server is the 172.16.0.11. Goes will not work if I put this one. So gonna check this. Fast Ethernet configured 172.16.0.90. So subnet mask as well is automatically appear once the IP address will entered in this area. So the subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. So next, config email information for clients. So dynamic one first. Dynamic one, I'm gonna config the client PC. Then go to desktop and configure the mail to net 1 user user 1 at mail.amice.edu, and the incoming mail server is the same. Just put mail.amice.edu, and the outgoing mail server is the same, and username is user1, then password 1, and then just click save it. Just close it and go to dynamic 2. Let's go to the desktop and same configuration. Just click this one. Just put your name is Tonet 2 and email address user2 at mail.amice.edu, and incoming mail server is the same, mail.amice.edu, and outgoing the same, mail.amice.edu, and user2, your user2, and password 2, and then click save it. Next, go to desktop and mail, just configure this one to net 3 and user 3 at mail.amice.edu. Incoming mail server is the same, mail.amice.edu, and outgoing mail is the same, mail.amice.edu, and username user3, password 3, and just save it, and then close. Then next, so this is the configuration, it's the same. This is dynamic 1, and then dynamic 2 is the same configuration, and static, this is the same configuration. And 9, add 2 switches, connect the servers. One switch is connected to the pieces, and the other switch is connected to the servers that we have. And then, so I'm gonna click this one. We already have 2 switches, but and the previous, as per the instruction, should the PC, the switch 1, should all the PCs connected to the switch 0, and the switch 1 it should be all the servers connected from to switch 1. So I'm gonna change this to the PC switch 0. Gonna connect this one here, and I'm gonna connect this one server from here to here. Okay, the next, this is the one. And 10, verify the connection by sending email using packet tracer. Make sure that there will be a conversation of messages. Okay, and then I'm gonna try this messages, and then this is number 10, and propose activity. After, repeat step 1 to 10, print screen sample conversation of messages indicating that there is a connection. Okay, so I'm gonna send an email from dynamic 1 to PC2. So I'm gonna compose this one. User 2 at mail.amice.edu, and this is subject test mail. Hi, I am Tunit 1. I am Tunit 1. Just want to follow if you receive my mail to check if my account is working. Thanks. So I'm gonna send this one to user 2. So this is the sending mail user is successful, and gonna compose again, sending to user 3. I am Tunit. Okay, now I'm sending the mail to user 3. So I'm gonna close this one, gonna go back, I'm gonna open the dynamic 2. I'll check if they received the mail. So yeah, we received the mail from user 1, and this is hi from user 1. Hi, I am Tunit 1, just want to follow if you receive my mail to check if my account is working. Thanks. And then I'm gonna reply this mail. Okay, yes, I got your mail few minutes ago. For sure your account is working. It's working as I had received it. So I'm gonna send this one to user 1, this reply. Okay, so now I'm gonna send this, sorry, so I already sent this one. Okay, so now I'm going to compose. I send to user 3. This is from user 2. User 3 at mail.edu.ts test mail. So hi, I am to need to just want to follow if you receive my mail to check if my account is working. Thanks. So this is, I sent it, so this is successful. So now I'm going to close this one and open the static, or just check if they received the mail. Yeah, they received the mail from user 1 and user 2. So I'm gonna reply this one, user 1 first. Okay. Yes, I got receive your mail. For sure your account is working as I had received it. So I'm gonna send to user 1. So that is the reply from user 1. And now user 2. So user 2, I'm gonna reply this one. Yeah, user 2. So I'm gonna send this in user 2. So and this is from user 1 to user 3. So what is this? Yeah. And now I'm going to close this one. Just open again the dynamic one. Just check if they receive. Yeah, receive from mail that from user 3 and user 2. So I'm gonna open this. Yeah, this is the conversation for both for the user 2 and user 3. This is from user 3 and this is from user 1. And I got the reply from, this is from user 1 and I got the reply from user 3. This is, yes, I got received your mail, for sure your account is working as I receive it. Okay. And this is the procedure. And next I'm going to answer the question. Okay, question number 1. What is email server? A mail server or email server is a computer system that sends and receives email. Mail server send and receive email using standard email protocols. For example, the SMTP protocol sends messages and handles outgoing mail requests, and the IMAP and PAP3 protocols receive messages and are used to process incoming mail. When you log on to a mail server using a webmail interface or email client, this protocol handles all the connections behind the scenes. So second questions, how can we send information from one PC to another? You can transfer files from one PC to another PC easily using cloud storage service like OneDrive or Dropbox. You can also copy files an intermediate storage device like a USB flash drive or external hard drive, then move the device to the other PC and transfer the files to their final destination. If the two computers are in close proximity, you can purchase a file transfer cable, which comes with software to simplify moving files between PC. Number 3, what is static routing? Static routing is a form for routing that occurs when a router uses a manual configures routing entry rather than information from a dynamic routing traffic. In many cases, static routes are manually configured by a network administrator by adding in entries into a routing table. Though this may not always be the case, unlike dynamic routing, static routers are fixed and do not change if the network is changed or configured. Number 4, what is dynamic routing? Dynamic routing is a network technique that provides optimal data routing. Unlike static routing, dynamic routing enables routers to select paths according to real-time logical network layout changes. In dynamic routing, the routing protocol operating on the router is responsible for the creation, maintenance, and updating of the dynamic routing table. In static routing, all those jobs are manually done by the system administrator. So this is the answer for the questions. And before I go in my laboratory, I just want to ping this if it is working. Just a minute. Ping 172 .16.0.10. This is DHCP server. Ping 172.16.0.10. Ping 172.16.0.10. Yeah, it's working. Its reply is working. And next, this is the DHCP server, and now ping 172.16.0.11. This is the DNS server. Yeah, it's working. It's properly. And then ping 172.16.0.20. This is the web server amais.edu. And then ping that 172.16.0.30. Its reply, it's working. This is the web server that's internal.com. And ping 172.16.0.40. So it's working. So this is my configuration. This is the call this one. So yeah, this is the server that the intermediary and the server intermediary and media is working properly. So this that's it. Thank you, and Bye.